Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Hogan, Content Director for Tech and Learning, and you are live at ISTE 2016, brought to you by the editors of Tech and Learning. It's been a jam-packed couple of days, lots of interviews, lots of new technology, lots of interesting ideas, and passionate educators really sharing best practices. And along those lines, I've been really pleased to have our strong cadre of advisors walking through the halls and coming up and talking about the latest and greatest. One of the things that we like to do, and it kind of stems from, if you're an ISTE veteran, you know the first question is, what was the cool thing that you saw that week? And each year you can go back and you can look at it from probably the iPhone in 2007 was the one, and then you had themes about device management. You have various pieces of software that would come and go, and then there are some technologies, 3D technologies, I think in particular was a real big one, and that was real cool. And then the next year it disappeared. So it's an interesting way to track the education technology trends. And so with that, we deputize a number of our closest advisors to go around the show and to pick out some of their favorite products of this year. This is the third year we've done it. We had more than 100 entries to participate in this particular contest. And I just want to start off by thanking all of our panel here. ISTE is just a ridiculously busy time, and there's so many different obligations and opportunities. So the amount of time that you folks spent doing this, we really appreciate it. So what we're going to do here is just going to ask that question to everybody up here in the panel. We'll start with Chris, but what was that cool thing that you saw this year?
So for me, the overall theme that I thought was really exciting.
Oh, I'm sorry, Chris. What? Can you introduce yourself and your
my
district?
name's Chris Aviles. I'm the Ed Tech coach at Fairhaven School District in Fairhaven, New Jersey. And as I was making my way around the vendor floor, I thought the overall themes that I was most excited about and saw a lot of the vendors talking about and taking advantage of, a lot of virtual reality, augmented reality, and game-based learning I thought was really exciting. But two of the products that I really enjoyed don't necessarily fit that bill, but I think they're pretty cool nonetheless. One was by a company called Polar 3D. They have a really nice 3D printer, and they have, the 3D printer is Wi-Fi enabled, so you can print from any device through their software called Polar Cloud. And so whether you're on a Chromebook, you're on a PC, if you're in a makerspace and your kids are working in Tinkercad, you can print right to the Polar 3D, via the cloud, which is really cool. But they also were showing off something I was really excited about called the Polar Portal. And this was a device that enabled non-Wi-Fi able 3D printers to take advantage of the Polar Cloud. So if you have a 3D printer like I do that doesn't connect to Wi-Fi at all, I can actually now connect it to Wi-Fi and print from anywhere on any device using their Polar Portal and their Polar Cloud software. So I thought that was really neat because that's one thing I've always wanted to do with my printers is be able to print from anywhere. I see 600 some odd kids in my makerspace over the course of a day, or over the course of a week, and so that was going to save me a lot of time. The other one I really liked is kind of a niche problem solution to something I see quite a bit. I'm heavily involved in the EdCamp movement, and I go to a lot of conferences where there's a quick succession of presenters with different devices who are trying to share to an audience. And there's a company we present. They have created something called the SharePod, where they enable any device to connect to the SharePod, and we'll say the moderator taps the SharePod, selects the device from a list, and that device is automatically projected onto the screen. So I was excited that there's no cables involved, there's no awkward switching and waiting for people to shuffle. You can actually preload anybody that you want to present, have all the devices lined up and named. You hit the SharePod, you select the device, it comes up, you click the SharePod, it goes to the next person. And I really think that solves that problem of who's got wires, I want to present, or sometimes you go to see a demo slam and people are going in quick succession. This seems like a really cool way to get everybody presenting and sharing quickly without having to deal with all the wires. So those are two things I was really excited about.
So between the printer and that device, it sounds like you really want to kind of clean out the infrastructure. You want to go all wireless, right?
Yeah,
Anything wireless is okay.
It's such a time saver, and I can't tell you how many conferences I've been to where you're trying to present in quick succession and, you know, I don't have this cable, you're looking for somebody in the crowd that has it, or like again, I have so many kids who are looking to print in my makerspace that it's a hassle for them to send me the file, and then I have to put it onto the SD card and then take the SD card to the printer. Polar 3D allowing any 3D printer to become Wi-Fi enabled and use their Polar cloud software, I thought was really neat and would solve a lot of problems for me.
Great, thanks a lot, Chris.
Yeah,
Andy, how about you? What was that cool thing?
For me, and it went along with the theme that I saw, which is existing products adding coding and programming and really sort of upping the game of the makerspace and what some people consider toys. But one of the coolest ones was the Dash and Dat WonderWorks, Dash and Dot, thank you, Wonder Workshop, where they're building out a full curriculum and sort of a competition amongst kids, student-centered competition, to really leverage some of the more 21st century skills and programming that sometimes is lacking from tools. It was really cool. Another thing I saw was a whole variety of instructionally sound designs for furniture. So Ergotron had this student table that went up and down with a pretty good range. So if you wanted to sit down, you can sit down. You want to stand up, you can stand up. And we know that learners all have different preferences, and that motion can help kids learn better. Another cool one was Bretford's collaborative table with, you know, similarly, you don't have to keep plugging things back in. They had a little pod there. People could get together with their devices and look at shared information. As we go to more one-to-one, looking at shared information together is less frequent. And I think it was really important to stress the collaborative nature of all looking at the same thing at once.
That's fantastic. Yeah, that's another theme that we noticed was redesigning learning spaces, and that seems to be part and parcel. Not the most high tech, but it's as important as anything else, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, right. Then Doctor.
Rebecca Andre. I work with Donna Klein Jewish Academy. I'm a technology teacher. Have so much fun, and we have a makerspace as well. And so I was shopping around for a number of things that I saw in many, many varieties. So I was really very pleased at the choices. I also saw one of the themes that spoke to me was coding, of course, piggybacking on what you were talking about, but especially a focus on girls. So we need to obviously help young girls and women understand that there's a place for them in terms of science and coding and all that. One of my favorites was the Follett School Solution Light box. It has so many more interactive pieces. It's very colorful. It has audio. It has video. It can even go as far as giving you the video of, let's say, the actor who portrayed the main character in To Kill a Mockingbird, and then look at the geography and show where the author lived, and then a little quiz that's interactive and in color and very exciting and just steps you through. And if you can't even read, it can talk to you. It was very impressive. I loved it. I also fell in love with a couple of screens. Interactive touch projector. Boxlight has a wonderful one. They also have a terrific way to use products that you have used before. So you can open a smart board file using their product. You can also open Promethean files. So let's say your teachers have been using these products for 15 years and they continue to save things, but maybe you want to move to a new product. This product can allow you to use the files that you've been using for a while. So I thought that was a big, big help.
Great, that's fascinating. Thank you. Bob, last but not least.
How you doing? Mike Gorman. That's okay. That's okay.
And it's live.
It's that's why we're doing it live. It's been great to be a part of this. You walk into that hall and it's like, and some of you that have been to ISTE before know what that's like when you walk in there, and the excitement, the energy. I think the hardest thing that I had was coming up with two, because there's some amazing products, some amazing things out there. I had to get down to the basics on the first one that I wanted to pick, and I know a lot of you are probably familiar with Bright Bites. what an amazing product they've come out with. I know they've had other ones in the past where you can kind of audit your school's technology. Well, they have another one now that's called Digital Privacy and Safety. And they have a security module with this where you actually have various stakeholders in the school answer different questions of assessment. And it really gives you an idea of where your school district or building is at in the area of digital privacy and safety, which I think is so important because we have to be careful as we go out onto that web that teachers are aware of those terms of use and the agreements that they are somewhat making. And so I think the awareness that it brings and also the just the idea of a school looking at itself, I think it's a great possibility and a great tool for those, especially in the one-to-one programs. Another one that one of the things I heard quite a bit of this year was virtual reality. A lot of VR talk and some amazing announcements coming out of the conference on VR. And I know all of you probably saw that. In fact, you related one to me the other day. And so the one I saw was Z-Space. And Z-Space is a 3D virtual reality. You wear some glasses and you can they have labs and they have units and inquiry-based lessons where you actually manipulate different pieces of these objects and experiences. You can go onto the African safari. Now, one of the things that I liked about this, a lot of times we think of the glasses as far as that we wear for VR. What I really liked about this is it allowed students not just to see it, but to be there and to actually use their hands and to actually manipulate things.
So tactile.
Yeah, which I thought was really, really important. And then the other really neat announcement that they told me about was that they are going to be working with Google, and they're going to be correlating some of their things with the Google virtual expeditions. So they were all standouts, but those are just two of them that really, really had a nice impression on some of the things I saw.
That's great. Well, thanks. I mean, that's a good number of highlights for the potential award winners of the Best in Show that are coming out. The official list will be released in a couple days once we get our act together and get back and unpack our suitcases after all this. But I want to thank you again. I'd like to say that we were going to now purchase all those things that you just asked for, but it's not happening. So sorry once again, and thanks. Thanks for everybody for watching over the last couple days, and if you're watching a couple weeks from now, I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks again.